How we doing? So I thought I'd cover the second video of the acceleration mechanics. So in the last video we covered about making the hips work and actually flexing from the hips or driving from the hips. So I just wanted to cover hip displacement and show you a couple of drills that can help with that. So what I mean by hip displacement, we sometimes talk about angles and pausing the video in an acceleration and looking at certain projection angles and looking at that hip extending, knee extending, ankle extending. The science, we're not overly too bothered with the knee and ankle extending fully, although a lot of people still think triple extension is where we need to be, but it's not be all end all. But we definitely want that hip extending. Okay, so what I mean by extension of the hip is there it's flexed and then there it's extended. Okay, so you can see my hips drive through. Okay, so the first thing that normally happens is in an acceleration we see people run like that. Okay, and what we want is the belly button coming through, so we want the hips draw through. We want to be in that position. All right, so a nice simple drill to kind of work on that is just a wall sprint. So we're there again, my bum, bring my bum through, and then I just kind of get into those shapes and just do a wall march to start with, nice and steady. Okay, so again, just maybe filming yourself, just making sure those hips are extended. All right, your next one is displacing the hips. So a good little drill is set up maybe a 5 meter, so cone to cone, and then getting into a starting position, 3-point stance, 2-point stance, whichever you prefer, and then displacing your hips to the next cone. Okay, and what I mean by displacing the hips is sending the hips forward. Okay, so displacing the hips forward. Okay, the legs will then follow. So another drill, if you don't want to set cones up and run, is doing the wall sprint but starting off in kind of a 3-point stance and angling the shoulders towards the wall. So I'll show you how that looks. All right, so I'm going to basically fairly tighten my leg. Okay, before everything goes through this front leg, so all the forces through this front leg, and you'll have seen another video where I've done this with one of my clients, one of my athletes. And then all we're going to do is just going to lean forward. Okay, arms are in that position. All right, just going to go a little bit further back, so this is where you kind of distance from the wall. I'm going to project my hips that way. Okay, so I'll project, bang. Okay, so again for me, I'm a little bit close, so I'm going to just adjust there, hips go through, bang. All right, and you can see them, he's projecting the hips. Okay, so always think the hips have got to project forward. Okay, that'll give us that extension. All right, a lot of people, they kind of project the body forward and then allow the hips and the legs to that kind of play catch up. Okay, so key things, make sure we lean from the belly button. Okay, we don't want to be leaning from the hips because that's where we get that bum stuck out. Okay, leaning from the belly button. Okay, so that hips pushes through. And then the projection of the hips. So when you're sprinting, think about projecting your hips forward and the legs will follow. If you're starting in that position that I've just shown you, make sure all the force is through the front legs. But I'm going to do a different video where I just speak about that drill anyway. All right, hope you've enjoyed this one. I've got another 2 videos in this series. Just before you go, don't forget to press subscribe. All right, cheers, peace out.